Okay, welcome to another episode of The Butler Did It. I'm your host, Adam Butler, back with another episode. Thank you so kindly for being here. All right, people. This is an episode where I want to kind of just talk about some of the things that's been going on in the week. And as I announced in yesterday's episode, that the interviews will be on separate episodes. Basically, you'll have an interview episode every other week, and then you'll have The Butler Did It proper, which is just your boy sharing his thoughts about what's going on in the world, basically, right? The classic show every Wednesday now, and then the Butler Did It sit downs every other Thursday. And as I also announced, we're going to have the show on the app. The Butler Did It presents, which is going to be a music show, a party at night, and a call-in show, which is going to be really cool, man. Go ahead and download that app, man. So I'm excited about a lot of stuff, man. I'm excited to have this, to just sort of have a better vision of what's going on with the Butler Did It, man. And I'm excited to be, I'm just excited to be able to do this show and have you all care about this show. Appreciate you all, man. Before we get to today's topic, I want to remind you to subscribe. If you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, okay? Hit that like button. Hit the little bell up in the corner. That helps out a lot. It helps get the video and the algorithm going. It helps get the video on your For You page or whatever you call it. It helps get eyes on this stuff, man. And that's super important, okay? Also, I want to say that I have a goal. Okay? I want to get to 500 subscribers, okay? I know I haven't given this page enough love to really get a bunch of subscribers on this page, but the subscriber number has been going up as I've been posting more podcasts on here, and I love it. I love to get to 500 subscribers. That's a goal. So if you could help me get to 500 subscribers, I will greatly appreciate it. I'm not going to promise you nothing, though I have some cool stuff coming up. I'll let this cat out the bag. We got merch. Hold on. We got merch. Okay. Merch is coming. Okay. So maybe I'll give away some t-shirts. I don't know. I'll see what I can do. Either way, it would be a great favor to me if I could get this page to 500 subscribers, man. So let's make that happen. Okay. All right. I'm not going to talk too much. We're going to get to the topic. I got two topics to talk about today. Both are very current events. One is your boy, Dr. Umar. He's been in the social news over the past 2 weeks, or the past week or so, I should say, not 2 weeks, the past week. And it hasn't been for a negative reason. And to me, that's pretty amazing. Let's talk about it after this. And by the way, I got a drink on me. Cheers. Cheers, everybody out there that's just doing their thing. Everybody that's working hard. All the parents out there, all the married couples out there, all the people, the single folks, everybody. Cheers to all of the supporters of this podcast. Cheers to you, man. Let's rock. All right. It's late at night when I'm recording this one. That's why I got my drink with me, man. I'm sorry. I need that little buzz. So your boy, Dr. Umar. Perhaps you don't know. Put my mic down a little bit. Perhaps you don't know who Dr. Umar is. Dr. Umar is, I guess he would consider himself a black nationalist. No disrespect to him. He goes by the name Dr. Umar. He says he is a psychologist, and he is certified. There was some controversy about that, but he provided some paperwork that says he is a psychologist. He is a prominent black voice, but also an extremely controversial black voice when it comes to LGBTQ plus issues. He's controversial when it comes to black women. He's a bit controversial. Just his opinions on certain things are extremely controversial. One of the things that I think turned me off about Dr. Umar was his attempt to open, I think was a charter school. He was taking money for the charter school. This was years ago. The school hasn't opened. I'm not accusing the man of anything. I just thought it was interesting. I think it's very interesting when you do fundraisers and things like that. Was just like the other dude, Sean, whatever his name is. It's the same thing, so Dr. Umar started off as just a controversial figure, but then I think he kind of embraced like the comedy around him. And you see the memes when say like a black dude is dating a white girl, they'll have like a picture of Dr. Umar, looking all mad or whatever. Or it's just stupid stuff because Dr. Umar is supposed to be like the Hotep, the classic Hotep, militant black dude. And I think he kind of embraced that recently, and he's come off as more funny to me than anything. I haven't really taken Umar very seriously in a long time. One of his latest rants was about like Spider-Man and the Spider-Verse and how, he's chasing around the white girl the whole time. Like, what? Like, like, what are we doing? Like, what? Umar is not a serious person to me. But he is very popular. And he sort of is always on the podcast circuit. I've never tried to book Dr. Umar on any of my shows. I'm not sure Dr. Umar would come on any of my shows, honestly. But I know that Dr. Umar has been gracious enough to appear on a lot of podcasting platforms, no matter the number. Okay. So why am I talking about Dr. Umar now? Umar was on some podcasts. You'll see him in the clip I'm about to show you. I'll tag them, whatever. Some podcasts essentially talking about one of my least favorite subjects, which is what's wrong with black women? Why are they so masculine? Why this? Why that? It's a bunch of dudes just trying to figure out why black women won't submit and why they won't do this. And y'all know my thoughts on this stuff. You all know my thoughts on these things. I want to talk about them. And I think they had Umar on because I think they thought they were going to get a certain answer. And instead they got this answer. Check out this clip.
America will not be tolerated over there.
Why the fuck is it tolerated? It's not tolerated here. That's what we're trying to tell them.
Well, over here, I want to say this to us, though, because we try to act like the way sisters treat us doesn't have a history that we are not at least partly responsible for. Let's be honest. The black woman has had to hold down the black house by herself, although imperfectly. She's had to do it by herself since the mass incarceration of black males began in the 1970s. So when a sister says, I don't need a man, because she couldn't find one strong enough to hold her down. Or when you meet a woman and you say, sister, I'm strong enough to be your man. You ain't got to work or you ain't got to pay the bills or whatever. Pull back. I got you. And she can't do it because all the other men before you who disappointed her. So what I'm saying is, black men, we got to be patient with our women because we created that personality.
Okay. We have to be held accountable for their poor selection.
No, you have to be held accountable because they have a poor selection.
Wow. Dr. Umar basically told those dudes that everything matters. That if black women are, and this is an if, by the way, I'm not even saying this is what is real, but if you believe that black women have a harder edge, if you believe that black women are more masculine than you would like, if you believe that black women are too independent, then there's a reason for that. I don't think there's a such thing as too independent. I'm not sure masculine is the word we want to use when we're talking about some of the black women in our community and how they may had to have toughened themselves up in order to just get through life if they have developed a go-getter's attitude or just naturally had a go-getter's attitude, a hustle, if they have raised a child on their own or been raised by a single mother and just have a lower expectation. I don't think that's a woman being too masculine. I think that's just a woman who has developed a defense mechanism and honestly just been hip. Now, I don't personally believe that all black men are downtrodden, and I don't believe that all black women are just these neck-snapping, sassy, unbearable you-know-whats. If you have been following me for a while, you know that the truth always lies in the middle. If you want a woman that's going to submit and doing all these things, I bet you can find one. And then there's going to be a woman that's different than that. And there's going to be a bunch of women that are somewhere in the middle, as I always say. So I hate these conversations. I really do. I'm not even going to spend time breaking down what's going on with women and what's going on with men. Frankly, I think Dr. Umar gave the best answer. Myself, me, a black man, I can only think about what I can do as a black man within the community. If I'm concerned with helping the black community, I cannot think for a woman. I can't. Black women have to have and have been having their own conversation amongst themselves. Black women have all sorts of seminars and they have books. They have, women's groups and all sorts of things where they sit around and they talk about their issues, self-help groups, all sorts of stuff. I've said it a million times. Black women are ahead of us when it comes to mental health and self-care. We can learn so much from them. So I wonder why brothers like this, and no disrespect to their pod, honestly, I'd have you guys on and I'd have the debate with you, honestly. Or I'd gladly join your platform and have the debate with you. Because I think that's what has to happen. Black men have to talk to each other. We spend way too much time talking about black women. Frankly, it's a little lame. Dudes be having whole platforms and all they do is just sit around and talk about how they can conquer a woman. Spend no time discussing what brothers, black men can do better, how we can improve ourselves. That's why I love the Black Man Express Yourself podcast. I always talk about that platform. I love it because it's about accountability and it shows grace to black men. That's why at the core, this show is for black men. It focuses on black men's mental health. Even though I may talk about basketball one week, I may talk about snowfall another week, it always comes back to something that's beneficial for black men. Not because I'm trying to exclude black women, but because black men need it. We don't talk to each other at all. We don't talk. I'm telling you, it'd be dudes, I know them, that sit around and just talk about women all day. I ain't no hater now. I get it. I'm not being goofy here. I'm not saying you can't talk about women. What I'm saying is you have a platform with a dude that you clearly respect. You clearly respect Dr. Umar. That's why you had him on your show. And all you're trying to get him to say and agree with is how terrible black women are to you and how they too masculine and how they don't listen and how they single for a reason. Do you hate them? I gotta ask. Do you really want to be known as a man that's at war with black women? Is any group of people, or is any group of people, however you want to say it, perfect? No. Are all black women perfect? No. Are there cultural things amongst black men and black women that are annoying? Hell yeah. But no more annoying than any other group of people in the world. Why are you hyper focused on what black women are doing? I hate to sound like this. I know what people are going to say. I know what the responses are going to be. I don't even have to say them on here. You'll see them in the comment section. But I got to wonder, when Dr. Umar straight up tells you all you can control is yourself, it takes a village essentially to raise black children. You shouldn't have to be in a romantic relationship with a woman to care about the little homie on your block if you see he ain't getting enough. If black women are hardened, if black women are angry or whatever you may be seeing, what part do you play in it? Man, that's the question. That's the answer for anything, man. If things going wrong at your job and constantly going wrong around you, when do you look at yourself and go, man, what part can I play and how can I help make this situation better? If you on a damn basketball team or a football team and y'all constantly losing, you got to ask yourself, what part can I play to help advance this, to help improve this situation? Why wouldn't you look at it like that within your own community? Why aren't we capable of doing that? I get it, man. I'm a podcaster. I've been a podcaster for a lot longer than y'all. I'm telling you that straight up. Okay? I've said it a million times. I get paid a salary to podcast. I get paid freelance money, good freelance money to podcast, and I get paid a salary with a 401k to podcast. I know this game. Okay? I know this game. So I understand the entertainment value. I understand the shock value. I get that when you're riding algorithms and understanding that when I say this, certain people want to hear that. But I don't play when it comes to my community. I don't think my community needs to be played for an algorithm and for a click. So I'm going to go ahead and say and believe that you all believe what you're saying. That you're a high value man and you work hard and you deserve this and you deserve that. And you can't seem to find a black woman that shows you the level of respect that you think you deserve. Well, then the natural question would be, do you really deserve that respect? Or are you just saying it? How do you want your household to look? Is it something that should have been left in the 1950s? Or is there equity in that household? Is there fairness in that household? Do you want a woman that you respect? That you all can lead together? That you all can build together? I'm a married man. I'm going to tell you what, that's what marriage is. My wife make a lot of decisions. I make a lot of decisions. We make a lot of decisions together. Sometimes she leads. Sometimes I lead. Sometimes I just have to listen to her. Listening is a skill. Do you have it? You weren't prepared to listen to Dr. Umar, a man you brought on to your show because you expected him to say a certain thing. You brought him on and you were going to say, man, why black women so masculine? And you thought he was going to go, well, let me tell you, brother, why black women so masculine and why they need to listen to you, King. No, you didn't get that. You got your mind blown. Y'all was looking real confused. Y'all was looking real confused. There was nothing confusing about what that man was saying. You all heard the clip. There's nothing confusing about that. Accountability within the black community amongst black men. What's so off-putting about that? Again, I ask, why are you spending your time thinking about what black women think? You can't control that. Why are you all up in women's business? I'm saying these things. I know I sound cliche right now, but what else am I supposed to get from that? Damn it, you make me want to have a drink. I'm sick of it, man. I'm sick of it. This show is for black men, but I'm not here to pamper black men at all. Sometimes we need a challenge. All of us, we need a challenge. It don't mean that black women right all the time. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is that maybe try listening to them. And clearly, a lot of us aren't ready to have a conversation with them because we won't even have a true, real conversation with ourselves. Your salary, your 401k, your work ethic don't mean nothing if you don't know how to communicate and live amongst black women. You don't need one in your household. Get a dog. Get a dog if you want something that's just you can just tell what to do. And make sure that dog is obedient, because you're going to have some problems. Get it trained. Make sure it sits and heels and begs and do all the things you needed to do. You'll have a lot more fun. But if you want a partner in the community and romantically, there's a lot of changes that need to be, because y'all allow Dr. Umar to come in there and sound like James Baldwin. No disrespect, man. I'm sorry. I know I keep saying that. Let me take another sip. Y'all just trip me out, man. So I'm going to actually say shout outs to Dr. Umar for setting them straight. Brothers, I don't watch your podcast. I don't listen to your podcast like that. I've never heard your podcast, and you probably never heard mine. I doubt you'll hear this clip or see this clip. If you do, no disrespect to you guys, I am more than willing to have a conversation with anybody. That's the point. We have to be able to talk. You have to be able to hear different opinions. But the main thing is, black men, we have to be able to put our shit on the table. Recognize that a lot of it is shit. Stinking shit. Okay? Clean it up and do better. Not just so black women will like us, but so we can be better. So we can be better assets to our community and have more to offer than our work ethic and our money. Yeah. And I'll leave it at that. So, y'all heard about that submarine? I know, I'm about to talk about the submarine. I'm sorry, y'all. But y'all heard about that submarine that, we've heard now that it more than likely imploded in the ocean. It was attempting to go down to see the Titanic and explore the Titanic. The sub was not the strongest or the safest vessel, clearly. Many people have come out, other people that do deep sea dive, and James Cameron, people that do these things, come out and said that they've had problems with this particular vessel. Clips of the vessel have been floating around. I think it was like an ABC morning news hit where basically they showed the remote control and how sort of janky this thing was. And you listen, man, unless you've been living underneath a rock, you've heard about this story. Rest in peace to these folks. It's a tragic story. And yeah, they were billionaires. And yeah, depending on where your values are and what you would do if you had $1 billion or $1 billion and whatever, going down to take a trip to see the Titanic may seem very silly to you. I get that. I've had a lot of conversations with a lot of family members about this, and I've noticed the trend. And the trend initially, does have me upset. And the trend is that people don't really feel any empathy for these lost souls. It's been a lot of, laughing and making fun of, and criticizing and judging. And in situations like this, I often feel like I'm on an island, because no matter how bad the person may or may not be, I still, and I'm not because I'm better than anyone, but I still find myself feeling bad for them or worried about the outcome. I remember when Donald Trump, then President Donald Trump, caught COVID. Y'all remember that? He got sick off COVID, had to go to the hospital, basically. He was pretty sick. And I remember people laughing and hoping he died. And it's not that I was going to miss Donald Trump. Let me be honest. But I looked at it as, but the president is sick. And what happens if the president dies? I just can't help but to think like that. I like to claim I have all this emotional intelligence, and I like to be, intellectually mature when it comes to these things. So even though these people were billionaires, even though I would never get in a small craft that I can't open myself and travel down to the bottom of the ocean to go see the Titanic, I still found myself feeling sad for them and worried for them. And I find myself feeling sad that the outcome was what we all thought, one of five, basically. Either the ship imploded, either they got caught on something and they were just suffocating, either the ship lost power and they're just suffocating, or either the ship had the emergency balloon go off and they floated to the top of the ocean and they're just suffocating. So, when I looked around and seen all the people making fun and, just clowning and, being very judgmental, I found myself going, ew, y'all, this is ugly. But then I went on TikTok and I saw a video that I thought was brilliant. Now, it's not a short clip. It's about 1 minute and 30 seconds long. I am going to play the entire clip because I think it's worth it, okay? So, take a minute. Listen to this.
If you see people making jokes about the submarine and it's making you a little upset, I want you to know that you should be upset. You should be upset, but I don't want you to stop there. I don't want you to stop at being upset that there are some folks that are laughing at another human being's despair. I want you now to ask the next question, right? Don't get intellectually lazy now. Ask the next question. What could have possibly happened in these last 100 years to create a condition where millions of working class people had almost no empathy for a billionaire in despair? What could have happened? It can't just be that poor people are just angry and jealous. Like, don't get intellectually lazy now. You ask the question, go all the way, figure the whole thing out. Where could this lack of empathy come from? Could it be that poor and middle class, lower class people see the wealth that their labor creates being profiteered on at near oligarchy levels? So much so that they themselves are paywalled from the very things that their labor is supposed to provide them, like healthcare, like education, like access to education. Their living conditions are being commodified to such an extreme level that they don't even know if they can live in the places that they grew up in. And all of this is happening at the hands of millionaires and billionaires that are taking too much from what they're not creating. Could it be that? We literally just went through a global pandemic and watched millionaires and billionaires on corporate earning calls brag about raising the prices of basic goods to rake in record profits when we needed them the most. You're seeing these jokes online and you think that people are not nice, but the truth is people are not dumb. Large corporation CEOs and billionaires fight tooth and nail. They hire lobbyists after lawyer after politician to make sure that the minimum wage stays exactly where it is as these large corporations grow exponentially in size based off of the labor of the people that they refuse to pay a living wage. You are never going to find empathy out of those people.
Damn, that dude makes a great point. I understand it now. I understand where the anger comes from. I understand where the lack of empathy comes from for anybody. I mentioned Trump. I mentioned this. And there's a bunch of situations that have happened with rich people, or white people, anyone you view as a person that has power over you or more rights than you, or the balances, that the scales are tipped in their direction. I see why we've become nasty about these things. There's a video going around online with a woman clearly having like a bipolar, like manic fit. And someone shared it on Twitter. It was a white girl having a manic bipolar fit. And someone shared it. It was like, haha, hey, Twitter, do what you do. Meaning black folks eat her up. Figure out her name even. Find her. Basically, let's embarrass this person. Because it's a white person walking around, cussing out people, a lot of black people, swinging on them. I saw it as a mental health crisis. Other people see it as Karen getting her comeuppance. Right? And the video I just shared with you actually helped put it in perspective for me, because I've been confused by that. Let me get to my point, because he made it for me. There is a culture divide happening, and that gap is widening by the second. When we start losing empathy for each other, scary things happen. I'm not trying to be an alarmist here. I'm just stating facts. When we're happy, and I'm not judging, because again, this dude made the best point. I only have to spend a lot of time talking about this, honestly, because the point was made from him. When the scales of tips and the power gap is so wide, the people on the short end of it are going to rebel. We don't care about any pain that comes these people's way, because we are feeling so much. And when I think about that, it makes me sad. It makes me sad. It's depressing. It's depressing. I will say this, though. Let's take another sip. I will say this. Mental health is always something I'm thinking about. I think it's our number one commodity. I think it's worth more than money, more than gold. Because without it, I don't care how much money you have, you're lost. And I'm not talking about incurable diseases and serious. I'm talking about just you doing your own mental health checkup, what you choose to focus on, and where you're being tricked, right? The submarine thing, or the submersible, whatever it's called, is sensationalized. It was those people were doomed from jump. No matter how much we watched it, they weren't going to be saved, and we weren't going to be able to save them. It's like watching a car crash, right? You really ain't doing nothing about it. You're just looking at it. And while that's happening, all sorts of stuff is happening. All sorts of real things are happening. Did you know the House is trying to vote to impeach the president right now? I'm saying all this to say there's so many negative things to worry about. We just spent a whole week, myself included, paying attention to and essentially watching and talking about someone dying slow. We're on death watch. And because we become so angry as a society, especially my folks, and again, it makes sense. The only thing we can think to do is to kind of enjoy it. It's like a small victory. It reminds me of the OJ thing years ago. I didn't understand why my teacher brought in a television so we can watch the OJ trial and see the verdict, and why we cheered. I was young. I didn't know I was cheering. I just knew a black man won something, and hey, y'all like it, I love it. I didn't understand that black folks were basically saying, I don't care whether he did it or not. We gonna get off on something, because y'all get off on everything. That's a heavy bag to carry around, don't you think? Basically, what I'm saying is that you have to focus on your life. Those people had $1 billion. They had enough money to get into a stupid little craft and go into the ocean, a place that's scarier than anything on Earth and outside of Earth, for real. More people have better success rates traveling to space than going down to the lowest depths of the ocean. But they had the money to do it. They wanted to do it. And you don't. And I don't. And that's okay. Not to sound corny, but what's positive in your life? There's plenty. I know it. Even if you don't know it, there is plenty. I can tell you that. You have to be able to focus on what's going on in your world. The difference between now, the present, and the past is that we have so much media. There's so many negative things to pay attention to that you can forget about what's going on in your own backyard. You got to mind your mentals, man. You have to. Because when you get into the point where you're wishing negativity on anyone, including your worst enemy, you're losing the fight. When you're viewing someone as your enemy, you're losing the fight. Don't lose the fight. It's a shame what happened to them people. I wouldn't wish it on anyone. If the thing imploded, they probably got the quickest, easiest death, but they still died. There was a 19-year-old boy in there that did not choose to go. Apparently, he's just with his uncle or his father or somebody like that. It's sad. There are people, those are people's family. They're going to be mourning that. I'm not going to take joy in that. I don't care if they're part of a different part of society that maybe keep it a boot on my neck. We can figure that out another way. But I can tell you, getting nasty and stooping to the levels that you believe they're on is not the way to go. And I've been wanting to say this for a long time, man. I actually wanted to say this when the Trump thing happened, man. Like, be better than Trump. Be better than Trump because you can be. Be better than the Karen because you can be. Don't ignore them. Don't let them do whatever they want. But be better than them. Because you can. All right? All right, man, that's another episode of The Butler Did It. Thank you so much for tuning in, man. Once again, if you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Please like the videos. Please comment on the videos. And more importantly, other than subscribing, click the little bell so you can be alerted to new episodes of The Butler Did It. And it helps with the algorithm. Please subscribe if you're a podcast listener. Go ahead, subscribe to the channel. Or the show on your favorite podcasting platform. We're on all the podcasting platforms, so go ahead and subscribe to the show. All right, rate and review the show. Do what you got to do, man, and share it, man. Just share it with people. I'm trying to get to 500 subscribers on YouTube, and I'm trying to get the subscriber number up on the podcasting platform as well. Listen, man, I've been drinking this Crown Royal. I'm starting to slur a little bit. I'll start to slur just a little bit. It's late, so I'm going to wrap this one up. Remember, next week is a big week for the show. Okay, we're going to have the podcast, the proper podcast. That's going to come on Wednesday, and then next Thursday night on the AMP app, the Amazon AMP app. It's free. Download it. It's a cool app just to have, honestly, man. There's all sorts of shows in there. Kiki Palmer has a show in there. Nick Cannon has a show in there. Joe Budden has a show in there. Candy Burris has a show in there. Kenny Burns has a show in there. There's a bunch of people that have shows on this network that are bigger stars than me. But also your boy is going to have a show on that network called The Butler Did It Presents. And we're going to have a different themed music night every Thursday. We're going to party, man. We're going to have a good time. And I could take live callers on that show. So please, please, please be on the lookout for that one, man. I'm going to have some fun. There's going to be a lot more laid back version of The Butler Did It than this particular show, man. So we got things coming up, man. Dope stuff. And then the week after that, we'll have another Butler Did It sit down. I got a whole bank of interviews that I can share with you guys, man. I'm excited about that. And I'm excited about some of these other announcements that I have coming up for you guys, man. So I'm going to get some sleep. It's been a long day. It's been a long week. It's been a long month. But things are starting to progress, and I'm very, very happy about that. All right. So remember, follow me, MSR_Adam, MSR_Adam for all things The Butler Did It on social media. You can find my TikTok and all that on there as well. There's a link tree to all of my stuff, even old episodes of the What Are Those podcasts. Okay. So remember, mind your mental health. Super important, man. We just got finished talking about this. Mind your mental health, okay? Mind your physical health, man. Listen, it's Men's Health Month for all my fellas out there. Let's make it Men's Health Year, as my man Day said. Okay, let's get that going. Men's Health Forever. How about that? Men's Health Forever. Okay, so get outside in summertime. Get a walk, get a jog. Do something physical. Eat well. Don't drink too much. Do all of that for your boy. Stay healthy, okay? All right? And all of this goes into this last point. Never forget, and please continue to be great. I'm up out of here. Peace.